Let me welcome, I'm very glad to welcome Rajshree Pathi from India. Let's see if we can start the connection. Hi. Hi, Rajshree. Can you hear me?
Hi,
Hi.
Alessandro. I can
Hi.
hear you. Can you hear me?
Perfect. Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
good.
Good.
Thank
Good.
you. Yeah.
Thank you. Rajshree is a founder of Indian Design Forum. That has a very yes, it does. That has a very important. Well, I understand it's very important role because it's very active on two sides. From one side to update also the international perception of Indian design, and from the other side is very active on divulgation of the knowledge about the contemporary vision of design in India. And that is done organizing very interesting forum with international designer, international guest. It's an activity that I think is very important in a country like India with such a important historical background and such a big complexity of craftsmanship and production and arts and technology. So to manage the contemporary vision of design and to balance with complex context it's an important goal. And especially, I think that in the last time, the foundation has been also involved in a campaign for migrant workers. Maybe, Rajshree, you want to say something about?
Yes, very much. Thank you, Alessandro, and I'm deeply honored to be invited to participate. I'm happy to see all of you in Italy safe and healthy, and we are trying to keep safe, yeah? So, as you know, COVID-19 has placed huge resource constraints on the global economy. So this has got us thinking to how the designers can rethink about strategies that bring, frugal innovation to really work for this situation. This is a great opportunity. I see it as a tremendous opportunity for designers, for planners, for design thinkers to put their heads together and really think about frugal innovation. Now, what do I mean when I say frugal innovation? Of course, we all know that it means that we have to bring relatively sophisticated products and services within affordable limits and for a broader social impact. It's really about delivering more value at a lower cost to more people. And designers really need to adopt the mindset of simplicity and low cost without sacrificing the quality of the user experience when they are designing for frugal innovation. And in India, we use many terms. We are used to jugaad. I think all the viewers might know this indigenous word that we call jugaad innovation in India. We say Gandhian innovation. However, what is it that defines frugal innovation in more clear terms than jugaad or Gandhian innovation, which have been used very loosely for making local makeshift indigenous kind of interventions, so I think with frugal innovation, what in my opinion we should really focus on the essentials. Now, what are the essentials? I would say the essentials are to focus on shelter, healthcare, education, and food, delivery. And also the other aspect of frugal innovation is how do we keep the initial cost or the purchase price to the lowest possible. Thirdly, to minimize the use of material and financial resources, keeping the fact that it has to be user-friendly and robust and delivering goods of high value and quality. Now, it should also be scalable and enabling sales of large quantities and remaining sustainable throughout the whole process. Now, this is a big deal. I hope I haven't made this look overwhelming.
Yes, you
but
made a...
What is the challenge?
Yeah, it's a challenger.
It's a big challenge because how do corporates, and usually it's large corporates, correct, that are producing these things. Now, how do they supply or sell at a low cost and provide high quality and make a large quantity without compromising on their profit margins? We have to agree as design thinkers that we cannot forget this important fact, because if manufacturers and producers are not able to make profits, they will be out of business, and the whole idea of frugal innovation is you can throw it out of the window. So where then can we enable that manufacturers and corporates can make profits? They can only make up for this by producing large quantities. It's by scaling up production and increasing the consumer base at the overlooked consumer. I'm using this word overlooked. Overlooked can become low-income earners. It can be a neglected a part of, my God, designers.
Sorry, we missed.
Can
you repeat the last phrase, please?
Yes.
I missed the last words.
Yes, I said that as designers, we need to think how we can make these products available to the overlooked communities, also defined as low-cost income earners or the neglected part of society that today we see they need innovation in their lives. So companies have to rethink distribution channels. How can they think of unconventional distribution channels? Secondly, we need to encourage local manufacture. We need to encourage small entrepreneurs. We need to be very local. And I think to some degree, you know, in India, there has been this local innovation going for a while. But we need to make it larger. We need to see how they can remain sustainable. And these are the challenges also, not only for the design thinkers, but also for the policy makers. You know, we are facing many challenges in India. And you mentioned that I was, you know, very sensitive to the issue of migrant workers. You know, personally, we have experienced this. India Design Forum put out this Creators for a Cause social campaign, and I was simply overwhelmed with the global response that we received from the design community, the creative community all over the world. We requested them to send us a video of their life in isolation and also to endorse the campaign. We collected more funds through this crowdfunding initiative than we targeted, and the money went directly to feed 30,000 people. Now, the migrant workers, today we have a number that says 5 million. But this is not a finite number, because there is a whole lot of others who this number could be easily double. Now, these workers are the backbone of an Indian city like Bombay or Delhi, because they are the service providers working as garbage collectors, road sweepers, and construction workers. They live in city slums, in unsanitary settlements, and in very unsafe living conditions. Now, this is an opportunity for architects, city planners, and technology designers to put their heads together to create a habitable and a safe environment for these people. No longer in India can we, as citizens or as a government, ignore these people. So before COVID, they did not have a number. They were not a statistic. Post COVID, we know how many people live and in these conditions. If you take, the Indian cities, and it is simply not possible to accept that this should be their way of life going forwards. Now, how can technology help migrant workers develop, a mobile user experience in India? The Indian market has been successful in penetrating with the mobile phone technology. Today, everyone in India more or less has a mobile phone. Phones have become cheaper, the service providers have gone into the villages and so on. And this has become the most influential way of communication in India at every level. So again, how can technology help this class of people or these workers to develop a mobile user experience as they are challenged by digital products? And most of the digital products, as you are aware, are designed for Western users. And these users and the interface are developed for the Western users or for an educated society. Now, can designers think of how you can use local custom all the time?
I switched off all the Wi-Fi.
How? I'm sorry if the Wi-Fi is a bit difficult this morning.
Oh, but we can listen. It's okay.
Okay.
Please.
Okay. So how can we design a user experience that is really helping these people? And I think designers should study the thinking habits, should get into the heads of the people who they really are designing for, and they need. And I see a tremendous opportunity. It's a companies can make a lot of money out of this because the consumer base at this level is very large. Now, for architects as well, it is a duty to the profession to come up with solutions by using indigenous and sustainable low-cost material, delivering good construction. Now, we also need to think about new material. We have to study how we can find antibacterial, maybe even antiviral materials, and it exists. I mean, for years in India we've been drinking water in copper pots. So can we think, for instance, using copper alloys as building materials, and how these things are important, because I think we cannot wait to think this way anymore. We also need to deliver healthcare. I think healthcare is so vital. Healthcare without compromising on the quality of healthcare. I see healthcare, every country advertises low cost healthcare. Everybody advises that they have wonderful healthcare. But all of us have seen, you have seen in your country, we have seen in other countries, we've seen in the United States, we've seen a lot in India, how healthcare has been compromised during this time of COVID. How can designers think, again, using medical technology, using architects, how can we deliver healthcare without compromise? So I'm thinking Just a moment. I've written so many points. Excuse me. I just want to talk a lot, you know. So, so
You have
when
the
I
time.
speak about yeah. So when I speak about frugal innovation, everybody says, but you know, everybody makes things cheap. Otherwise, how can we survive? Frugal innovation is not about delivering an inferior product. I want to make that very clear. Let us not think frugal innovation is something cheap and trashy. I am saying we have to think in our heads that being frugal is not a fashionable word today. It is an absolute necessity for humanity. And as design thinkers, it is our responsibility, our conscience must be appeased to think about the larger impact on society. And this has become more and more evident during COVID. Um, so I'm thinking also about education. How, you know, in India, there's been lots of education in the villages using mobile technology. Now, with COVID, we know that a lot of online education is happening. Now, is this a thing forever? Are we entering an era of uh, of human civilization, of lifestyle changes that are really threatening going back to normalcy? You know, you and I are sitting here and we are thinking, yes, it's going to get over. I sit and think, okay, so next month it's over and we all get back to normal. And today, again, our government has, you know, our state has increased, they lifted the lockdown, they've reimposed a lockdown for another month. So is this something that we're going to live with? So working out of home is become a real necessity, has become the reality of the future. No longer can we say, next month I'm going back to work, everything is going to be okay. It's not going to be okay. We are happy if it's going to be okay. So, many parts of the world, in South Asia and Southeast Asia, people live in basements and in attics with no air, with no ventilation, with no light. And, you know, we all watched Parasite. And it broke my heart when I saw it, because suddenly the reality struck me that, you know, people live like this even around me. Yes, I see it every day. I feel for it. I see what I can do. But more and more of the world, unfortunately, we are seeing living this way. So how can we make working out of home or more pleasant for these people? Because there are millions of these people and you cannot wish it away, you know, you cannot be blind and say this doesn't exist. So how can we compel companies to think, to design frugally, to make the lives more more hospitable, more healthier for people who live under underprivileged situations? um, I'm sorry if I'm taking you all down this path, but it's something that I'm seeing and living with and trying to resolve. And it upsets me that that design still has this word elitist, you know, tagged onto it. Even for India Design Forum, you know,
Please.
I go for, you know, we are a not-for-profit, and I ask for, you know, sponsors, and people say, oh, but design is elitist. Why do you need sponsorship? You know, I said, design is not elitist. In the Western world, design is understood as innovation. Design is understood as an intervention and an interface. But most of, in my parts of the world, design is still got the tag of elitism attached to it. It's slowly going away. But for the common man, it still thinks of, you know, they still think of Louis Vuitton for design, you know. I mean, yes, I mean, they're a great design company.
I can
No problem.
I can understand the challenge. I can understand the
You can.
challenge. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So You know, how, first of all, do we get this in the minds of the designers? Because most people, even designers, they say, but what, how do we survive if we design for cheaper product, or for a consumer, or for a low income base? Because we cannot survive. We want contracts, we want job work from big companies. So I think it has to come from the top. It has to be governments, it has to be local administration, it has to be corporates, it has to be designers, it has to be, you know, I don't like to use the word subsidy, because you cannot live on subsidies, you cannot live on incentives. But the question I'm putting to you is, how do you get frugal innovation moving forwards in a good way that it can be sustainable?
You you are launching let's say an hard question. Your points are very clear. You touch extremely sensible point, and I think that one of the last one. So how design can be perceived as a tool for social innovation, for helping, and not just, let's say, as a status symbol or something like a kind of decoration. That's something that can also come from a proper education of the designer. I mean, training and educating the designer on that sense is one of the ways probably to change the approach in general. You mentioned the question of healthcare. We were checking in the European Union, really a lot of design research and design applied research in the last year has to do with the healthcare in large. Let's see, from devices to system, but just say it's a field that is absolutely connected with design. So and I think that nowadays we have the opportunity. You are right. We have any countries has a healthcare system, and during the pandemic, any countries made some mistake, something wrong without any. But I think that we have a lot of we can see a lot of best practice worldwide. So maybe we can pick up the best that we have on the table, and we can apply. I think one point is very important, because you mentioned the unsafe condition of the slum, and we know that, well, we know the situation, and I think that all the world that know India were worried about the situation, because of course lockdown means stay in your house. But if you don't have a house, or if your house is unsafe, the lockdown is a terrible, is not a solution, neither. So, but I agree with you that probably the COVID pandemic stressed the need of the solution, because the slum was a problem even before the COVID. Now, because it's not possible to go ahead on that situation, probably the COVID emergency stressed the need of a solution, and it's a solution that can come from policymaker, as you say, and from designer and planner and architects. So there could be a interdisciplinary task working on the searching of that solution. So a lot of interesting points, and especially you highlight the needs, the urgent need of the solution and of the situation, and it's very important. I think that when I was mentioning India Design Forum as as a a new actor to show the new the contemporary role of design was exactly for that reason. I mean, design is not just for selling products, it's not just for
No.
luxury, it's for helping people, any kind of people, but helping, going, let's say, listening the people's needs. We are designers, are part of the people, of course. So, I mean, this is one of the most important knowledge about design nowadays, I think. Do you think, well, from your words, it seems that in India, design is still perceived as a decoration, as a luxury item. But you have also you have some cases and some tradition also in services and projects related with the social innovation.
Yes, we do have. First of all, you know, I think at IDF India Design Forum, we started it to be a catalyst for change. You know, and I think that's the role we've been playing very well. And when we speak at forums like this, we try to bring attention and create awareness for the larger role of design. You know, we are a democracy and a developing economy, a developing democracy that needs education at many levels. And you cannot take away democratic design from frugal design. In my head and in my opinion, they go together. And therefore, at India Design Forum, we always have emphasized on democratic design. And that nobody owns the design, you know, nobody can, we need to have ownership of design spread all over. And the overlooked consumer, I like to use the word overlooked again and again, Alessandro. I don't like to say the lower income group or the bottom of the pyramid, or, you know, because we have to give this consumer dignity. And it is not their fault. It is have been overlooked, you know. And I think the time has come now for everyone to think about this. Yeah.
Yes, I think it's not just a question of time. It's a question of I mean, the COVID, the emergency that we are facing. Probably that was the alarm clock for the time that you mentioned. I mean, in front of the lockdown, of the pandemic, this stress, we had the opportunity to think about the real needs and to stress our attention on solution for the real needs. Well, talking about time, even our time is going to finish for our half an hour. But I want really thank you for the picture that you described and the insight, the input that you gave, because I think that there are a lot of work to do, for sure, and it's work to do for designer. It's a work to do for designer worldwide. So that could be one of the maybe the next forum can be focused on some of these topics and with an international call for workshop and for searching or solution or strategy. The two things are both needed. I really thank you. Shukriya, Rajshree.
Thank you, Alessandro. And this is a tremendous thing that you have done. It's a unique initiative to do this 24-hour design conversation. And my congratulations to your entire team at the Politecnico and to yourself. And once again, let's all put our thinking caps on and maybe meet soon in better times. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you. Namaste.